Hello everyone. Today I'm going to build an ambient patch using just 4 modules. The entire system is just 30 HP wide and it uses only a single sound source. We'll combine a random CV generator, 1 oscillator, a delay and a reverb to create an ambient patch that evolves over time. Let's start by taking a look at the modules we'll be using. From left to right, there's Hagiwo's Mod 1, Helical by SDKC Instruments, MFX by ALM Busy Circuits, and FX Aid XL by Happy Nerding. In this setup, Mod 1 generates random CV, Helical is the only sound source, MFX provides the delay, and FX Aid handles the reverb. Even with just 1 oscillator, the random modulation and spacious effects create an ambient patch that can keep evolving for a long time. Without the blank panels, the whole system is very compact and costs around $1,000 US. Now let's take a closer look at what each module does. First is Hagiwo's Mod 1. This is an Arduino-based programmable module, and I've loaded it with my own random voltage generator firmware. In this patch, I'm using 1 trigger output and 3 random CV outputs. Those CV signals are used to automatically modulate the parameters of the helical, which I'll introduce next. One of the best things about Mod 1 is its price. In Japan, you can buy a pre-assembled version for around $30 US. Since the schematics are open source, you can also build one yourself. Next is Helical, the only oscillator in this setup. Helical is a 16-voice wavetable polyphonic synthesizer. I'm using the random CV from Mod 1 to continuously change the wavetable, the helicity parameter, and the envelope settings. Helical can also read scale data from a micro SD card, so it can generate musical note changes without requiring an external sequencer. Because it includes features like built-in envelopes, it helps keep the overall system small. Next is the MFX from ALM Busy Circuits. Although it's a multi-FX module, I'm using it only as a delay. The main reason I chose it is its ability to produce very long delay times. Most Eurorack delay modules are limited to around 1 second, but the MFX can extend the delay much further by lowering the sample rate and bit depth. The sound becomes a bit lo-fi, but that character works well for ambient music. In this patch, the long delay plays a key role in creating the sense of space. Finally, there's the FX Aid XL from Happy Nerding. One of its biggest strengths is that you can load your own effects using the official web app. For this patch, I've loaded a Mutable Instruments Clouds clone, and I'm using it as a reverb. FX Aid comes in several versions, but I'm using the XL simply because that's the one I own. Since this patch doesn't use CV control, the smaller and more affordable standard FX Aid would work just as well. Now let's build the patch. First, let's listen to the helical by itself. Since it has stereo outputs, I'll connect both the left and right channels. For this patch, I'll mainly be using these 4 parameters: the wavetable, the envelope, helicity, and the scale. The scale is loaded from a micro SD card in advance. Let's start with Helicity. Increasing the value makes the chord progression move faster, while lowering it creates slower, more gradual changes. Next is the envelope. Short envelope settings give the sound a more defined attack, while longer settings create smoother, more drone-like textures. Finally, changing the wavetable dramatically changes the overall tone. Since I'm aiming for a drone ambient patch, I'll keep the Helicity slow and the envelope fairly long. That already sounds nice. But now let's make it evolve automatically using the random CV from Mod 1. First, I'll patch a random CV into the envelope. By keeping the knob around the middle, the envelope can become both shorter and longer in a natural way. Next, I'll patch another random CV into Helicity. This slowly changes the speed of the chord progression, making the patch feel less repetitive. Finally, I'll modulate the wavetable. Adding random movement here gives the timbre much more variety. On Mod 1, each CV output has its own amount and offset controls. The amount determines how much the parameter changes, while the offset shifts the center of that movement. For this patch, I'm keeping the amount fairly low so the changes stay subtle. Now let's add the FX. I'll patch the output of Helical into the MFX, and then route the MFX into the FX aid. The MFX is set up as a ping-pong delay. I'm using a delay time of just under 1 second, with the dry-wet mix set to about 70%. Finally, I'll add reverb with the FX aid. I'm using a Clouds reverb algorithm. Adjust the pre-delay and decay to create a wider sense of space. Finally, I'll brighten the tone slightly so the high frequencies don't get lost. And that's the finished patch. If you want an even calmer atmosphere, try using a longer envelope or lowering the helicity even further. Helical can also store multiple scales on its micro SD card, so simply switching between them during a performance creates plenty of variation. You could automate scale changes with additional modules. But the goal of this patch was to keep everything within just 4 modules. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to hear more patches like this, I also stream live ambient performances on this channel. I'm planning to make more modular synth tutorials like this in the future, so if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or ideas for future videos, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.